One afternoon, I got a surprising phone call from the police. I couldn't figure out why they would call me. What could have happened? As I listened, I was completely shocked. What do you mean? I asked, confused. The police explained they had found my 4-year-old daughter, Jennifer, alone and were taking care of her. I was stunned. Jennifer was supposed to be at the amusement park with my husband, Andrew. That phone call changed everything in our lives. Let me introduce myself. I'm Karen, a 30-year-old who works from home while raising my daughter. I married Andrew, my college sweetheart, 5 years ago, and together, we have our little girl, Jennifer. Andrew has always been a wonderful husband and an involved dad. He loves spending time with Jennifer, even on his days off. He's also about to get a big promotion at work, so life has been going great for us both personally and professionally. With such a loving family, I felt like everything was perfect. That was until the day I got that call. Earlier that Saturday morning, Andrew had told me, "We're going to the amusement park today." "Thank you," I replied, smiling. Jennifer was so excited and kept hurrying him along. I was supposed to go with them, but at the last minute, I had to stay home because of an urgent work assignment. Watching them hold hands and head to the car, I couldn't help but smile. Time to get this work done, I thought, feeling positive about the day. About 2 hours later, while I was taking a short break, my phone rang. At first, I thought it might be Andrew calling, but the number was unfamiliar. Feeling a little nervous, I answered. To my shock, it was the police. They told me they had found Jennifer alone. That's impossible, I thought. Jennifer was supposed to be with her dad at the amusement park. For a moment, I even wondered if it was some kind of prank. I decided to double-check with my husband. "Hello, there is something I want to ask you," I said. What's up?" he replied casually. "Where are you and Jennifer right now?" We're at the amusement park," he said nonchalantly. "The police just called me. They said they found Jennifer." "What's going on?" I asked, starting to feel uneasy. "What? She's right next to me," he said, sounding a bit shaken. "If you're together, then that's fine. Can you put Jennifer on the phone?" I asked, wanting to hear her voice. No, she says she's too embarrassed," he replied quickly. That didn't sit right with me. Jennifer loves talking on the phone, even playing phone games with us. She's never been embarrassed to talk before. "Are you sure? This doesn't sound like Jennifer," I said, my trust in him beginning to waver. "Maybe she's tired, too. Can we drop this now?" he replied, sounding nervous. Something didn't add up. The background was unusually quiet, no sounds of laughter, rise, or the bustling amusement park. It was eerily silent. "All right, I'll see you at home," I said. He quickly hung up, feeling suspicious. I remembered Jennifer's phone had GPS tracking. I checked it and saw the location. It showed the amusement park. But why would the police call me then? Determined to get answers, I headed to the amusement park myself. At the Lost and Found Center, I finally saw Jennifer. She was chatting with the police officers, but as soon as she saw me, she ran over and burst into tears. Dad said he'd wait for me on a bench and that I could go on any ride I wanted, she cried. But when I looked around, he was gone. I talked to the staff, who said they found her wandering alone. They had made several announcements calling for her guardians, but when no one came, they called the police. Luckily, Jennifer was wearing a tag with our contact details, so they were able to call me. Where could Andrew be? What was he doing? He's not the type to abandon our daughter like this. Could something have happened to him? I shook off the uneasy thoughts. To calm Jennifer down, I took her to a restaurant for ice cream. While eating her sundae, she handed me her toy camera, special gift from her grandfather for her birthday. Even though it's a toy, it can actually take real pictures. Curious, I turned it on and started flipping through the photos. I frowned. There it was, a picture of my husband hugging a woman I didn't recognize. As I scrolled, more photos like that appeared, making my stomach turn. "Jennifer, who is this woman?" I asked gently. "She's a friend of Dad's," she replied. My heart sank. For a moment, It felt like the world went dark. I remembered when Andrew cheated on me 5 years ago, while I was pregnant. We reconciled because we were about to become parents, but now he's doing it again and using our daughter to hide his actions. He probably abandoned her at the park so he could meet his mistress. Do you know where Dad went, Jennifer? She shook her head and then started crying again. As I had her close, she told me, through tears, that Dad had pushed her away, saying, "You're big enough to play by yourself now." "I'm so sorry you had to go through that, sweetheart," I said, hugging her tightly. I had her hand, and we headed home together. Later that night, Andrew rushed through the door, looking panicked. "Where have you been? What have you been doing?" I demanded. He frowned for a moment, then stammered, Jennifer went missing. You told me she was fine on the phone. Why did you lie?" "I didn't lie. I thought we'd find her quickly." "It's been over 6 hours since that call," I snapped. My suspicions grew. "And how could you miss the park announcements?" Andrew looked uncomfortable. "How do you know about that?" "The police called me. When I went to pick up Jennifer, the staff told me everything." He fell silent, clearly at a loss for words. He hadn't been at the park. He'd left our daughter alone to spend time with his mistress. I couldn't forgive him for this. "Fine," I said coldly. "Just don't do it again." Andrew looked relieved, thinking he was off the hook, but I wasn't done. I had a plan. 1 month later, I was in Los Angeles not for work or a vacation, but to catch Andrew red-handed. I saw him walking hand in hand with his mistress, laughing and carefree. "Enjoying your trip with your mistress," I called out. They both frowned and slowly turned to face me, their expressions filled with shock. "Karen, what are you doing here?" Andrew stammered. "Weren't you supposed to be on a business trip today?" I asked with icy calm. "She's a colleague from work," Andrew stammered. "Oh, really?" I said, crossing my arms. "I called your office. They confirmed you took the day off." His face went pale, his eyes darting nervously. "How did you even find me here?" "Remember the GPS on Jennifer's phone?" I asked, holding up my screen. "I put it in your car. It shows exactly where you parked." "What? Using a tracking device is so underhanded," he shouted. I narrowed my eyes. "Underhanded? The only reason you'd care is if you had something to hide. Or is this your way of admitting it?" Andrew's face turned red with anger. "That's not it," he shouted defensively. "Do you even have proof that I cheated?" "Funny you should ask," I said, pulling out a photo and shoving it in his face. His jaw dropped. "What is this? Where did you get this?" "Jennifer took it with her toy camera. It actually works." "You know," I said coldly. "You've got to be kidding me," he muttered, stunned. Then he tried to smirk. "This isn't even me. You must have mixed me up with someone else." "Nice try," I said, handing him a stack of photos. "Just in case the toy camera didn't convince you, I took these myself." Andrew's face turned ghostly pale as he flipped through the photos, each one clearly showing him with his mistress. "How could you act so affectionate with her in front of our daughter? You're despicable," I said, my voice trembling with controlled fury. In a panic, Andrew grabbed the photos and tried tearing them up. "Too bad those are just copies," I said calmly. "I have the originals stored safely." He glared at me, defeated but seething. "Damn you!" I wasn't finished. "You've got a big promotion coming up, don't you? What do you think would happen if these photos were made public?" Andrew's face went from pale to ashen. "Wait, no, don't do this. Your company values character, doesn't it?" I said coldly. "What would they think of a man who abandons his daughter at an amusement park to meet his mistress?" "Please," he begged, "don't ruin my career. I've been a good husband overall, haven't I? Can you forgive me?" "A good husband wouldn't leave his daughter alone at an amusement park," I said, my voice icy. Andrew had no comeback. He stood there, utterly defeated. At my furious outburst, my husband flinched, shrinking back. "But I've been taking our daughter out every week lately, haven't I?" he stammered, desperate to defend himself. "That was just to throw me off and hide your affair," I shot back. His face fell, and he mumbled, "I'm really sorry. Just please, don't tell my workplace." Looking at his tearful expression, I realized I felt nothing for him anymore. "Do you remember?" I asked, my voice icy, "when you cheated on me 5 years ago, while I was pregnant?" His face tensed, and beads of sweat formed on his forehead. "I haven't forgotten the agreement we made back then," I said, pulling out the signed contract. "If you cheat again, you lose everything. Your assets and custody rights go to me." "No, this isn't what it looks like. It's not an affair," he protested. "Then what is it?" I demanded. He fell silent, tears beginning to stream down his face. "Pathetic," I muttered, sliding divorce papers across the table. "Sign this." "What is this?" he asked, panicked. "Divorce papers." "No, I don't want to break up. Who would take care of things at home if you're gone?" he shouted. "Staying together is impossible now," I said firmly. "Fine, I promise no more affairs," he screamed, his eyes bloodshot. But his words didn't affect me anymore. "I'm not angry about the affair," I said, my voice cold. He looked confused. "So, you're forgiving me?" "No," I said. "What I'm angry about is you putting our daughter in danger." At that, he went completely silent, tears streaming down his face. "And another thing," I added, "you don't have a place in anyone's life anymore." What do you mean?" he whispered. "While you were gone, I told your parents, your co-workers, and everyone at your usual hangouts what you've done. They all know now." Hearing this, he buried his face in his hands, sobbing in despair. "I don't even want to see your face anymore," I said as I turned to leave, "so make sure you fill those papers out." Behind me, I heard him crying like a child, his face a mess of tears and snot. A month later, word of his actions reached his company. They revoked his promotion, and, due to our agreement, he had to transfer all his assets to me. On top of that, he was ordered to pay an additional $220,000 in damages and $400 per month in child support. Struggling to make ends meet, he switched to a new job with a harsh work environment just to earn a higher salary. Now he works non-stop, with no time to spare. Meanwhile, I've moved back to my parents' home with our daughter. As a single mom, I'm doing my best to build a new life. Next year, my daughter will start preschool, and I'm excited to see her grow. A fresh chapter is ahead for both of us.